So just before we came on the show, you heard the Treasury Secretary say people could see that COVID relief money in their bank accounts as soon as the start of next week. But there's a catch, right? Congress has to pass this deal first. So to talk about that and some other headlines in D.C., I want to bring in Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, Democrat from Florida. Congresswoman, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to be with you.
So thank you. It is a big deal, $900 billion deal. Have you seen text of it yet?
We haven't seen text of it yet, but we have the broad outlines of what's in that bill. And I think that it's critically important. The bill sends monies to help with vaccine distribution. It gives Americans some direct payments and delivers unemployment assistance, as well as rental assistance and an eviction moratorium. There are things in there that would help small businesses. There's a lot of really good things that will help the American people. The only sad news is that it's long overdue.
So it sounds like, Congressman, you're a yes on this then. That's how you're going to vote?
I am a yes on this, pending further review of it. But, you know, while the deal took too long and it's far from perfect, it does send immediate help to families and businesses who can't wait any longer. And it keeps our government open. And we can't afford to shut down our government in the midst of a pandemic.
This is not the end of it, at least from what Democrats and your colleagues have said about the House and Senate side, that there will be another push for more relief once President-elect Biden takes office. For his part, Biden has praised this deal, but says it is basically just the beginning. What is next? What do you expect come, January, February? An extension of some of this relief? And how do you get it through?
So this relief is for a shorter period of time. And I imagine in the next Congress with the Biden administration, we will work on providing additional relief as well as recovery money. So as we are able to eliminate this virus and need to stimulate an economic recovery, we'll need another piece of legislation to help provide the resources for that.
I want to ask you about an issue of national security, and this is getting a lot of attention, and it should. This cyber attack suspected from the Russians on a number of U.S. federal agencies, also some private corporate systems as well. You worked as a national security specialist in the Department of Defense before, of course, your job now as a member of Congress. Based on what you know so far, and it's my understanding you have not gotten an all-member briefing on this yet. Number one, are you satisfied with the information coming out of the administration? And number two, do you believe that this breach is still ongoing as we speak?
Well, let me first just say that as a former national security specialist, this breach is very concerning to me, as is the response to it. Unfortunately, most of the information that I have received about this breach is through the media and what you all are reporting. That's the reason why I have written a letter to leadership requesting that they provide a classified briefing to members of Congress so that we understand the full scale of what has happened. And then we also need to take a look at why this is happening. If it is Russia or otherwise, these folks aren't facing consequences to their attacks on this country. And I think it's really important that once we understand all the facts that are out there, that we provide some sort of response to deter others from doing this in the future.
We heard from the Secretary of State, who said publicly that he believed Russia was behind the attack. That seems to be the broad consensus from experts and from sources that have been reported. The president, for his part, has contradicted that. He instead brought up China, provided no evidence of it, downplayed how severe the attack really was. Who's right here?
Sadly, I am not surprised that the president is undermining yet again his intelligence officials. Not only is he undermining the intelligence officials, but Secretary of State Pompeo has all indicated that they believe this is Russian attacks. And the president isn't doing us any good by undermining his own government. He needs to stand strong in the face of Russian aggression and let them know that we see that they're doing this and it won't stand.
I want to ask you about something else as it relates to the vaccine. We know, and we talked about earlier in the show, President-elect Biden said to get his vaccine publicly. We've seen Vice President Pence do that. A number of members of Congress, Senator Graham, Senator Rubio, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example. There are, in the eyes of many, very legitimate reasons why lawmakers would get the vaccines at this point in time. For example, to instill more public confidence in this, to make sure that everybody gets their vaccines. There are also, as you know, critics of this, like, for example, Governor Sununu. I want to play for you what he had to say about this.
Every one of those vials that is being used for a congressman and senator that has been doing nothing and that hasn't been on the front lines is another vial of vaccine that isn't going to a nurse or to a resident into a long-term care facility.
I have to ask, Congresswoman, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you've also received the vaccine, but what should the response be for the kind of criticism that we just heard from the New Hampshire governor there?
You know, I followed the advice of the House attending physician and received the vaccine as a part of our continuity of government protocols. Having worked in national security, I understand the importance of being able to ensure a continuity of government. But I also took this vaccine, frankly, because some of my colleagues have become super spreaders. And I'm required to get on a flight on a weekly basis, traveling to and fro Washington. And these colleagues who refuse to follow the advice of public health officials, who won't wear masks while they're in the Capitol, who attend crowded holiday parties at the White House and downplay the virus, they are putting us at risk because we can be a giant vector that spreads out all across this country. And I think it's a responsible thing to take the vaccine when the public health officials identify that it is the right time for you to do so. And also the public confidence element that you raised, which is that when they see folks who are in leadership of this country taking the vaccine, it reassures people that the vaccine is safe and effective.
Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being on the show for us this morning. Lots to get to. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Great to be with you.